What have you been trusting God for? Have you limited God by your asking? Are there things you think are too hard for God to do? Have you experienced the greatness of God's power? How deep do you understand the working of God? What level of faith do you belong to? Little, big, or great? Until you understand the mightiness of God, you would remain in your small state. God acts in accordance with your faith level. What you can withdraw is what your faith can carry. You would not have what you don't think is possible. Faith is the currency for purchasing and buying from the kingdom. You have a limited God, and that is why you haven't presented that challenge to God. You think God can't do it. You think it is too big to be done. I want to inform you today that there is nothing He can't do if you present it to Him. Only believe. He wants to bless you. He wants to lift you. He wants to cause His face to shine upon you. He wants to make you a wonder on earth. He wants to take you a stardom. He wants to announce you to the world. He wants you to be celebrated. But have you come to that understanding? Have you prayed yourself to that level? Have you raised your faith level? Are you seeing it how He is seeing it? Do you believe He can? You are the limiting factor to your blessing. That issue that seems great, bring it now and see how He would do it. Elisha was one man that dared to ask a big thing, and his persistent dodginess and belief made him receive. Elijah, his master, was about to be taken to heaven, and he was left in line to take over the office of his master Elijah. His master asked him what he wanted, and he asked something big. What do you want? It is time to table it to him. It is not big, great, or difficult as you think. He owns everything. Everything is in His hands. He spoke the word, and all we see today was formed. Present your case to Him, and He would speak the word, and His word never fails. He said we should ask and we would receive, seek and we would find, knock and the door would be opened for us. He didn't say when you ask you would receive small of what you asked. Neither did He say when you seek you will find something, or when you knock some doors would be opened for you. He gave an illustration when making this statement, that can a mother forget her sucking child? Or can a son ask his father for fish and he give him a snake? So our Heavenly Father is waiting to hear you make your request. He's waiting for you to make demands. His angels have been stationed, waiting for orders from God, which is dependent on your asking. Great men have asked for things from God, and they had it. One of such men was King Hezekiah in Isaiah 38. God sent His prophet to inform him to prepare his house, for God was about to take him home. But the king knew the God he served, and instead turned to God and made his plea. And before the prophet of God left the house, God told him to turn back and inform the king that he had added 15 years to his years on earth, and it was so. In Judges 6, we see the story, an account of a man called Gideon. He had an encounter with the angel of God and didn't ask for a small sign. He engaged the angel to prove himself severally that he was sent by God and God did all he asked. Abraham, knowing who God was, didn't stop asking or pleading with God on behalf of the people of Sodom. He kept pleading their case. God wasn't tired of him asking. Abraham understood the almightiness of God and didn't ask once. He kept asking until he was satisfied. Moses was another man that knew God and the mightiness of God. He was one of the men known to have interacted with God as a man speaks with a man. You have remained in your low estate because you haven't asked, and you haven't asked because you believe and think it is too big for God to do for you. John 14, verse 13 through 14. And I will do whatever you ask in my name as my representative. This I will do so that the Father may be glorified and celebrated in the Son. 14. If you ask me anything in my name as my representative, I will do it. Did you see what Jesus said? If you ask anything. Your asking shouldn't be limited. Ask anything. This means you should ask that issue that looks big. Ask the one that looks small. Ask everything. Keep asking and you would see it. Open yourself to the possibilities that God can do. Believe in His words. It is not your duty or responsibility to know how it would be done. It is not your job or task. Your role in the matter is to just ask in His name and you would receive it. That means every pain, challenge, trouble or pain you are facing today is because you haven't asked or tabled it to Him. You haven't brought the case to Him because His word made us understand that He doesn't sleep or slumber. He is always near, but only waiting for us to ask. Ask therefore today, and the blessing would chase you. You don't know the power, mandate, and authority that has been given to you, and that is why you are afraid to ask about the big challenge. That is why you have failed to call on God concerning that illness that has been declared incurable. That is why you have refused to table the financial indebtedness you have to Him. See again what He said in Matthew 18, verse 18 through 19. I assure you, and most solemnly say to you, whatever you bind, forbid, declare to be improper and unlawful on earth, shall have already been bound in heaven, and whatever you loose, permit, declare lawful on earth, shall have already been loosened in heaven. 19. Again I say to you, that if two believers on earth agree, that is, are of one mind in harmony, about anything that they ask within the will of God, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. You have been given the room to ask whatever in His name, and it shall be done for you. Whatever you agree and declare, you shall see. From the beginning, during the creation, He gave us the power to exercise dominion over everything. All you need to do is just to ask in His name, and the blessings would come your way. Why don't you open your mouth today and ask for His healing? Ask for His blessings. Ask and make a demand for everything. He is close, and the angels are close to war it to manifestation.